Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about something that needs to be repeated. And I know that for many people out there, they're going to laugh and say this is the most rudimentary information. Every expert in the field says the same thing. Why are you repeating it? Well, I think it's really important when it comes to fat loss and cutting and things, particularly the nutrition side, because what we find is that no matter how many thousands and thousands of times the best experts in nutrition and body composition and stuff say things, you still see people post all day the opposite and are completely unaware of the fact that it's true. Okay, so when I'm going to talk a little bit about training volume and cutting, a lot of people are going to say, probably most of you, well, everybody knows this. Everyone knows this now. This isn't even debated, except that, when you look at all the other stuff, perfect examples, would be things like post-workout nutrition. The whole anabolic window concept has been debunked. We know why any studies, were kind of set up to make it look good. Doesn't matter. As much as we have all the experts who've been saying this for 15 years, people still say it all the time. Same thing with protein per sitting. You hear that every day. You go look at any fitness group, forum, whatever, you will see people mention, well, the body can only absorb so much protein in one meal, right? Something has been so completely debunked tens of thousands of times by leading sports nutritionists, registered dietitians who work with athletes and bodybuilders. All these people have pointed out that that's complete, absolute nonsense. It's been completely debunked so much that if you say it, you sound like a complete jackass, right? That's what we all think, till you realize that people still repeat it every day, okay? So we need to cover these basic topics. Otherwise, people don't seem to get them. And a perfect example here is that when you are cutting, you're in a calorie deficit, you actually have to train less in terms of your lifting, right? And everyone says, oh my God, but this person or that bodybuilder and whatever, they say that they up their volume and it'll burn more calories. Yeah, but that's not really true. Okay. Not saying you can't add more cardio or conditioning if you are conditioned to it. And I'm not talking about novice lifters who are morbidly obese. Those people can add exercise, of course. They can add exercise. It's not a problem. Why? Because they'll gain muscle through any training. They can be in a calorie deficit and gain 10 pounds of muscle. In fact, the faster they gain muscle, the faster they lose fat, because their energy turnover goes up. Okay? They're at no risk of losing muscle. When you are slightly more advanced and you're not morbidly obese and you've built any sort of muscle base, if you try to overtrain to burn through calories, what happens? Your performance goes down in the gym and you start losing a lean tissue quicker. Okay, it doesn't work. Your recovery is compromised. And in fact, I would say the same when it comes to adding cardio, and I'll get to that in a minute. By the way, people are going to say everything in here is deadlifts. Why are you have deadlifts? Because I want to. Deadlifts are my favorite exercise, so yes, it's nothing but me and my clients deadlifting. Whether it's max pulls or speed pulls, right? That's what we're doing. So, the point is, if you haven't built the work capacity while you were bulking, because assuming if you're cutting and you're not a noob, right, you're not a complete new person to training, then you have probably done a bulking phase before you're cut, okay? That is when we gain muscle. That's when we gain work capacity. When you are in a calorie surplus is when you have the potential to do the most work. And by the most work, I don't just mean lifting. I mean conditioning work, GPP, cardio, everything. Your ability to recover and adapt to any type of training is enhanced when you're in a calorie surplus and you are putting in extra calories. It enhances recovery. It gives you more training fuel. And if you have more training fuel to burn through, then what happens? You adapt quicker, you build endurance quicker, you build work capacity quicker, you build more capillary beds. Your body makes all these metabolic changes to enhance your work capacity. Okay, you should be bulking. You should be in a calorie surplus when you are preparing for a marathon or a triathlon. Okay? You need to be consuming extra food. You shouldn't be worried about weight loss, because if you're losing weight, what happens? You don't make the same adaptations. because you're not recovering, you're not supplying the training fuel, you're cutting into your body fat stores. Your body will tend to want to downregulate certain things to avoid that. So you have to build those work capacities when you're in your bulking phase or your gaining phase. Whether it's your work capacity in the gym under a barbell, or it's your work capacity jogging or biking or dragging sleds, whatever it happens to be. That's when you make the positive adaptations to it. And when we are cutting, our capacities start reducing and our recovery is reduced, right? We're not getting as much insulin, IGF-1, all these other things, right? We're not shuttling as many nutrients into our muscles when we're in a calorie deficit, which is when we're cutting or we're losing fat. Therefore, our recovery is compromised. We cannot handle as much work. All right, when it comes to the training in the gym, you're more subject to overtraining. So if someone says, I increased my volume when I went into a deficit to help me burn more calories, then they were training suboptimally before they went into the cut, because you can't recover as well in a cut. So if they can add the extra work and recover from it, they pissed off their bulk. They left gains on the table. Because if they were anywhere near, if they were even within 10 to 20% of their maximum recoverable volume, they wouldn't be able to even handle the same work anymore for long once they go into the deficit. They'll start overtraining if they even try to maintain the same work. So they goofed off in their bulk. They didn't get as big or as strong as they could have. They wasted it. In fact, if they were gaining the same amount of weight and gaining less muscle, it means they got fatter. Okay? We build work capacity in the bulk. When you go into the cut, you cannot handle it. You have to reduce it most of the time, at least slightly. And if you were recovering on the same work you did bulking, your bulk was suboptimal. Right? You probably should have hired a better coach. Yeah? You should have hired someone who knew what they were doing. Okay, context here, people. So no, you can't increase volume when you're cutting unless your bulking was really bad. You might be able to increase really low intensity cardio. You won't be able to increase your conditioning very easily unless you only had detrained it slightly and you have the ability to bounce back to a previous level where you used to be in the fairly recent past. Okay, so in other words, we need to be focused on retaining muscle when we cut the best that we can, and that means we can't compromise recovery. Okay, your fat loss is created through your deficit. If you need to create a bigger deficit, do a little more walking. All right, not more lifting. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.